Week 3 was nothing like Week 2 in the Bad Quarterback League. Some of us cleaned up our acts, others
made a mess of it.
This week, sponsored by Drew Brees. Jeff George, of all people, should know better. I guess they were on the road, and that game-winning drive sure didn't help, but the Atlanta defense gave Carolina a -6 BQBL score last week, and this week they gave New Orleans a -39. Atlanta plays Cincinnati in Week 4, and I dare the two owners of the Bengals to start them. Top teams in Week 3 had some surprises as Minnesota went from being one of the worst performing teams to second best. Too bad no one had the balls to start them against Buffalo. I think we will still be scratching our heads after the season's over about that one. Thanks to Jeff George, the Cursed League gets its first victory in the top team, worst team pickup matchup thing, whatever. Over a money ball on it was tough to choose between TS8 win and my eventual pick, Colt Quinn Whedon, but I went with the latter because of his amazing decision or stubbornness to start Tampa Bay after what they've done the past 2 weeks. He could have gotten more points out of them had Fitzmagic not scored 2 late TDs to make the game interesting again. For the first regular segment featuring JFM, I might talk about how he smartly picked Jacksonville and finally learned to avoid Kansas City, but he also started a negative team and he's still in negative points overall. Despite having the 5th best week, he actually lost ground on 6th place, deepening this hole he's got himself into. Last week we had 3 teams in the negatives overall. This week it's only Moxon. Now on to the Week 3 standings where Jake Cutler has really cooled off after that hot start, but even though no one expected what Buffalo did, he still ended up picking his top 2 teams for the week. Although he should be worried about that, not proud. Brian Lake went with his safe picks and got decently average production from them. He'll be starting the Rams and Giants next week, so we'll probably see some different point totals from him. Tony Banks surges in the 3rd place thanks to a benching in the desert. He's going to have to figure out the rest of his teams though if he wants to sustain this success all season. Cade McNown has the 2nd best score this week, picking his top 2 teams, moving from 5th place to 4th. I think Wade Wilson's story is the most interesting to talk about. He avoided New Orleans, found a good week to bench Cleveland, but now has the good fortune of having San Francisco, who has what every BQBL owner wants: an injured quarterback out for the season. Chad Hutchinson is another interesting story. He has picked his top 2 teams every week this season. I'm sure the only person to do that between both leagues. Yet despite all that, he's clinging to 6th place. 2 of his teams have scored negative points every week, and even though he's smartly avoided them thus far, can he continue to do that all year? Tyler Palco finally found a good week to start Cincinnati. It's not too hard to do when you start them every week. Likewise, Johnny Effie Moxon finally didn't start his worst team, and you can say he got a Pittsburgh start out of the way, but he's probably still going to need more than 21 points a week to stay out of relegation.
Yes, I did the math. You'd have 276. And when has that ever been a safe score to have? Things finally got interesting in the Turbush League. The new top 4 of you had pretty good weeks, while the big story was Jeff George's drop from 2nd to 5th. It might be time for Tim Tebow time to start one of his other draft picks, as his top 2 have only gotten him in the 6th place. And I really don't have much else to say about you guys.